Hello everyone, welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. So this is the full market analysis volume 56. Again, we're just going to give you a quick rundown of what we're going to expect for next week and also give a look into what happened last week. So we are going to be taking a look at gold for tomorrow. Again, we want to talk about those few points in that particular video, but we'll start off with EURUSD for now. So what we can see in the market is that we have had price slowly push up through the week. Now we were looking for price, entry points, but as we can see, it was very bullish here. So we can see that there was strong momentum kicking in here. Now what we're looking out for now is, following on with the main trend, following the higher time frame perspective, which is, pushing lower and lower. That's what I intend to do, and that's essentially what we're going to be looking out for. So what we want to do is see if we can find this turning point from the upside to the downside, and we're going to head into 1.16. That's ideally where I want to see price push lower into. So whether that price starts to immediately fall through the start of the week, or if we have one little push higher and then that drop off, then that's something that we can look for through the week, and as long as we stay below 1.2, so this zone here, we should be confident to push lower through the week. So that's what my thought processes are with EU. I do believe there is some nice pips up for grabs here, so let's just take it from that high there to the low is about 200 pips, and then to our target is just under 300 pips. So there is a good amount of pips and reward up for grabs there if you wanted to take a look at this trade into detail. But again, that's totally up to you. These ideas that we're going to be presenting to you, they're more or less up to you. You don't have to trade every single one, because I do understand that looking at all of the charts and all the pairs does take a lot of time, and you don't have to take 1,000 pips a week. You just take as much as you need, and as long as you're in profit overall, even if it's by 10 pips, it's a lot better than negative 100 pips. So any positive is better than a negative. So anyway, so taking a look at NZDUSD, so we can see here that we're still looking for our bearish move to the downside. We're just literally knocking this down into our zones. So jumping from zone to zone, that's all we're doing if we want to keep it simple. So as we can see here, price I think has the ability to drop to the downside. So whether that we have a push higher and then the drop, or if we have the drop through the week, they're both consider something that we can consider, and we're looking to target 0.69. so again, something where we're looking to target, and the whole bias is again towards the downside. So let's say price manages to come up to test these to that double top, to the zone is just under 150, well, just over 150 pips. So still good enough reward there. Definitely keep an eye on your risk to make sure it's all worthy. But again, remember, these trades are swing trades, so you're not really going to expect these trades to fulfill the take profit level within 15 minutes or an hour or say. So you could be expected to hold them from anything from an hour to maybe multiple days even. Again, it just really depends on what the market wants to do, really. So yeah, so don't worry about well, don't be thinking that it's, oh, why hasn't it hit my take profit sort of thing. So there is that sort of burden of a question. But yeah, so what we're looking at for AUDUSD is a similar situation with this pair. So what we can see here is we are looking for price to still turn over to the downside. Now, what I spoke about last week was this critical high, lower high here being formed, and I did say that if price was to go above this, then we would ideally push higher and then turn over. Now, funny enough, this has actually failed to break higher, but it still technically broke the high, if that makes sense. So this could have been your entry point here, obviously, you know, looking at hindsight. But anyway, the new critical lower high is now here, so I will be keeping an eye out for this. So if we do find price violating this, then we'll have to come back with some different type of analysis. But for now, I am still confident that price has the ability to push lower. Now, whether that price makes you know, a little bit of a push higher and then drops off, or if we're going to find that continuated move lower through the week straight away, then like I always say, that's something that you can just have to consider and just wait for. So yeah, so we're looking to target 0.74. You know, that you don't have to take 0.74 as your target, but you know, this is something that you could see it. And as I would always recommend is to, you know, if you do decide to take profit levels at these points, so this is about 250 pips, make sure you're obviously trailing your stop loss. You know, don't don't think that it's definitely going to go here just because I say so. It doesn't always go to those levels that I say. So you know, it's better to, you know, make sure you're taking some partials, or at least moving your stop loss, you know, to break even, potentially even to secure, you know, your swap fees or any of your commission fees, etc. So you know, it's just about playing it smart, really. You don't have to be too greedy, but yeah, that's ideally where I want to see AUD USD to go to. Now if we take a look at UJ, so following the sentiment with, you know, what's been happening with the other pairs, what I have been looking out for is, you know, this drop off in momentum. Now we did see that happen over last week. Now what we're going to be waiting for now is you know, this continuation to potentially break lower. I'm not entirely too sure if we're going to see a break here. So for now, I'm going to get rid of this because this is a couple of steps in advance. But what I want to see here is price to sort of make its way up, test some sort of structure point, and then have some turnover to the downside. Now, whether the price takes out this low or this low, you know, that's something that we can look out for. But I'm just going to give a rough target of 108. Oops. So yeah, so ideally what we're just going to be looking out for is a push to the upside and then a move to the downside to potentially top. Oh my gosh, sorry about that. So 108 is our potential target right there. And again, as long as we stay below this level in the market, so if we just copy this, if we get rid of this level, so as long as we stay below this level and this zone, I can be confident that we can see a shift in momentum, or we could see a shift. So there's another thing that I was actually looking out for as well. I am in two states of mind here because we do have our zone here. And what I was preaching before is that as long as we stay below this zone, we should be able to see a very strong, deep move. So the other thing that we could consider is a potential move towards the upside as well, to take out this high and then have that drop. So this is why I was in two states of mind. But again, it's whatever's going to happen with the market. So what we can, you know, be mindful of, and what we can you know, prepare ourselves for is for both ways. So normally, like on this channel, I don't always give you know, two directions, but in some cases, you know, just to better prepare yourselves for the up and coming week, you know, it usually does work out better to you know, prepare for both cases. So if we are looking for this upside and then the drop off, what we can look for is any drop, any momentum changes to the from the upside to the downside. And likewise, if we're going to hold on to or if we are going to consider the upside move, what we can look for is any weaknesses in which we see a shift in momentum to the upside. And even if we do get this set up and we do trade it, you know, what we can then look for is a potential sell. So, you know, we are still mainly selling here, but you know, I believe is it worth pushing? Yeah, I mean, this is 150 pips to the upside. So, you know, if you were to take a trade towards the upside, and if next week is is the move towards the upside as the main move of the week, or the move of the week, we could see this move being happening over the next week, and then for the week after, we could be looking at for the sell. So that this is some sort of ideas and scenarios that I wanted to put forward to you guys. But the main thing is that we are looking to sell. And as long as we stay below this zone at 112, we should be able to see some sort of divergence at play. The other thing as well, why we could be looking for price to push higher, is that the divergence is not exactly too strong just yet. So there is a potential for price to push higher. So I am keen to see if we can get a step up and then that sell off. So that's something that I am looking out for. But yeah, we will get a decision soon, and this would be clarified if we can break this critical low, high low. So yeah, make sure you're keeping an eye out for those structure levels. So we'll move on to now CADJPY. Because we've rambled on a bit too much with UJ, but I hope you can understand where I'm coming from with that pair. So with this pair, what I'm looking out for is a move, a continuation lower. But let me just double check something actually. Okay, yeah, we still have. So what I was just double checking was the divergence at the top here. It is slightly low. Now, whether that price is going to push higher, that's definitely another story. But I do believe, I'm quite confident that as long as we essentially stay below this zone, we could see price, either again, like a similar situation with UJ, where we'll either get price to break towards the upside and potentially head into this zone and then drop off, or as another scenario, we'll get price to just slightly preach up and then drop off and break into the zone. So those two things is exactly what I'm going to be expected to look out for. And we're looking at 86 as a target, and again 84. So two different levels, but again it's a similar situation with UJ where we have two different things, but again the main principle and the main bias is a sell-off. So if you are just hedging your trades, or if you rather wait for precisional trades, then you're going to have to wait for one of the two scenarios to happen. So yeah, make sure you're definitely not rushing into these trades. I can't stress that enough. Definitely patience is the one that will keep you in on this game. So we'll take a look now into EJ. So with this pair, what we can see here is price slowly stepping up, and essentially what we can see is bear with me 1 second, 17th of March. So yeah, as we can see, price has broken this high, but we've found a double top to be formed here. So as we can see, sorry, I was just checking my notes. So yeah, we can see that we've got this double top being formed, and I think I was preaching last week, or the previous weekly analysis, is that if this is our critical high, if we see a break here, we could be anticipating potential moves higher. But what I'm noticing here is, with this divergence as well, we are seeing some sort of play here where we are stepping lower. But again, this can all change if price does continue to break higher. So I will be looking out for again momentum moves to the downside. So the up and coming week, what I'll be looking out for is, if this level does hold, will we be able to see a break of structure to the downside and then push lower, or will we see much more of a continuation higher and then the break off to the downside? So that's something that I'll be considering with myself and the members in the group. But we can obviously anticipate this and just purely just wait for price action to pretty much do its thing really. But ideally where we're looking to target is to 127.5. So this is quite a long way down, so about 300 pips. But again, this is a lot of even if we do see a strong drop off through the week, like I said, there's always multiple ways that you can get in on the market, and whether your stop losses are big or small, you can still catch this lengthily or this type of move towards the downside. But again, like the UJ pairs, there is a bit of an indecision with all of them right now, whether that's whether that price is willing to push and break higher and then whether the price is willing to push higher and then drop off, meaning that we will have to wait just a little bit longer, or if we're looking at price to just immediately drop off through the week, and we don't see any price moves higher than this level here. So that's definitely something to look out for and to definitely stay patient for as well. So if we take a look at NJ, so New Zealand dollar to Japanese yen, what I'm looking at for this one is this continuation lower. So as we can see, price is well, it has recovered this drop in the market very quickly, and as we can see now that essentially prices turned over nicely. The question at hand is this going to continue to push lower and lower? So that's what I'm looking out for this week is more continuations lower, and heading into this zone. So I'm going to be looking out for any sort of pullbacks or any retests, and essentially looking to target 75.5, which is this zone here, to take out this low and to take out some of these lows here as well. So we could see this continuing lower, hopefully, and to see if this momentum overall long term is still going to hold. So that's something that we can anticipate and definitely look forward to. If we take a look at our next pair, so AJ, what we can look out for. So come to our last three pairs for the week. So yeah, what we're looking out for this one is pretty much some sort of move to the downside still. Similarly with all of the Japanese yen pairs, they're seeing that the Japanese yen is actually strengthening over the last few days or so, or weeks or so rather, as we can see this huge strength of the Japanese yen coming into play. So it's creating this sense of strength, and more or less all of the Japanese yen pairs are dropping off, if you actually quite funny enough noticed this. But again, like I said, there's always opportunities regardless of your trading opportunities. But what I'm personally still looking out for is essentially a move towards the downside. So whether that price moves up slightly and then drops off, or whether that we see price move heavily more towards the upside and then drops off, that's something that we're going to have to wait for. So if we take it from the high to this zone that we're targeting, so 82, just under 250 pips. So again, make sure you're using good risk management and not over leveraging. And like always, as long as we have a critical level being respected, so this high at 85.5, if we stay below this level, we should be able to see a continuation push lower, and we should be able to see more continuations lower through the week. So taking a look at the last two pairs, so USDCHF. So this one has been a great one to follow. If you have been trading this pair, you can see this is absolutely melting. So what my thoughts were for this pair was was essentially just to wait for a pullback. Now I know that this has been dropping very, very rapidly. Now what we could be expecting, actually I'm just going to get rid of this drawing, what we could be expecting is a potential move towards the upside as a potential recovery, because as we always state that within a trend there always has to be some sort of pullback in order for the overall trend to be healthy. So what we're going to be looking out for is a pullback at some point. Now whether the price starts to retrace now, or if price starts to push lower, that's another story, but that's something that we can. Oh, I'm going to get rid of that one. That was awful. So let me rephrase that rather. So whether the price starts to pull back now, so we get a push higher and then that drop lower, we'll see, we can actually in theory trade the counter trend move, but definitely I wouldn't advise it if you're a beginner. But if the market was to continue to push lower and then break higher for the pullback, and then you could take a sell there. That's something that you can also consider too. So like I said, there's always two ways that you can look at the market, and it can only go up or down. There's no right or wrong way to look at the market, in my opinion, because you can always make money through the ups and downs. Again, it's just where you exit from the market. Okay, so judging from my perspective and what I think price could head into, I do believe that this is switching over to the bearish market now. You can see momentum kicking in, and all we need to do is just essentially wait for some sort of retest or pullback. And within a pullback, you can actually trade this towards the upside. So if you do have any buying trades or any buying ideas or that you want to take from this pair, you can essentially trade it towards the upside. But I wouldn't necessarily hold the trades for too long. Just definitely keep an eye out for the sells overall, so that because you want to follow the main trend again, of course. So which I do believe is bearish, but again, totally your opinion on the market. But I do want to see price come into at least around the 91 area as a target. So we can keep an eye out this for the future and definitely anticipate this. And yeah, so looking at the final pair for USD CAD. So let's take a quick look into this one. What we're looking out for this one is essentially this continuation lower. It's been pretty much retracing over the last few days or so, well, through the last week. So we can see price had made this push to the downside, made the retracement. So like I said, this is part of this bigger move that I'm anticipating. So what we can see now is price pushing lower and lower. So if you do want to get in on this trend or on this particular pair, what I would say is essentially just wait for the pullback or any type of retracement. So what we could see happening here, actually I'm gonna get rid of this. What we could actually see here is price to push lower and then have that pullback and then to continue into 1.235. Essentially that's something what we can anticipate here. And of course, as long as we stay below 1.275, that's our critical low, lower high. We should be still bearish with this market because we are looking to anticipate 1.235 to 1.23. So again, within this range, you could be looking for price to come into either of these levels here, and spike it in, and we can discuss once price gets to here, of course. But again, my main focus is to see whether this continuation will continue to push lower. Now, I'm not saying that price is going to come to this exact level and then retrace. What we need to look out for and pay attention to is, if price does a fake out to the downside and then pulls back, or if we get a real deep structure move to the downside and then that retracement, it's all going to vary within the day and the hour for this pair. So this is why the full market analysis gives you the on top market update for you guys, and moving forward, you can only analyze the data that you have. So again, this is all about future analysis and putting forward your potential scenarios in the market. So I am quite confident that we are still going to push lower and head into here as long as we stay below this lower the market. And funny enough, we can actually use this lower high in the market as well as a potential level, but this would be a very secondary critical lower high. So meaning that this would be, if we do get a breaker structure here and we see price push higher, as long as we stay below this critical low, lower high, we should be able to push, you know, basically bearish. So that's pretty much all I wanted to discuss here. I'm actually going to throw in, let's have a look at Ripple. I can't remember which one it is. If I can, I will do it for you guys. Let me take a look. I believe this was the pair that I annotated. I'm not too entirely sure. Bear with me a second, guys. It should be around here somewhere. I've got multiple pairs on this one. I believe it was this one. Let's take a look at this one. So, what we spoke about last time in our last video, we were actually anticipating price to drop lower. I was actually looking for price to come into around, you know, within this range, even lower. But yeah, we actually had price tap into 0.2 quite nicely, but so yeah, let's just get rid of this now, and you know, let's try and give some sort of depth of where we could see price head into now. So if we take a look at that weekly candle is beautiful for the main move. Again, like I said, we can see price aiming towards the $2 point. So like we were anticipating, is that as long as price stays below this critical low here at 11 cents, we should be able to see price still continue to step up now. So where we could expect price to head into now is another story. So I think it's quite easy to anticipate price to say it's going to go up, even that we can see it's you know, strengthening over the process. But what I want to do is, you know, I want to see if price is going to find some sort of halt in the market. So we could be looking at $2 where price comes into and then has some sort of a pullback. As we were looking at the $1 over the 4-hour time frame, there was some sort of psychological level, as we can see here. As the $1 level got hit, there was a lot of sell-off in the market, but you know, that definitely recovered quite well. So if we continue to look on the daily time frame perspective, if we get rid of this, we can just pretty much continue to use the daily level structure low. So I'm using this level here now as, you know, you can use this one here or this one. It's totally up to you. We'll take the absolute low. So now we can, you know, you can, if you did technically buy from the low, you can use the critical low here as your temporary stop loss, you know. And what we could expect now is, if we take a look at our fib, we can give some sort of ratios here. If we take a look into this, so if we take the 618 of this, so yeah, we can see that we've absolutely smashed through the 618. If we take a look at the 2618 as well, so roughly coming into this range, we could expect some sort of, you know, some sort of retracement here. Definitely we could see price wear out, and this is where we could be in store for our next buying opportunity. So what we could anticipate here is, you know, where we could see price, oh dear, where we could see price make it, you know, do some sort of retracement or some sort of pullback, you know, something like this, and then we have that huge push higher. So that's where we could, you know, you could accumulate more buys if you really did want to, and again, we are anticipating price to push a lot higher than we have done so already. So as we can see, price is steadily pushing higher and higher and higher. Funny enough, I actually do believe early on this channel I have been buying into, well, we have been analyzing this Bitcoin and Ripple from early days back in 2019 to early 2020. So I decided to stop with the analysis purely based on the fact that I wasn't really buying or holding any of the currency pairs, and I was more focused on the currencies for now. I don't think I will continue to do weekly analysis, but I may do you know, something like this more, you know, in the sense where I'm pretty much just throwing in a bit of Ripple analysis here and there. I may take a look into, actually we can take a look into it now actually whilst we're looking into Ripple. Now this is going to be another one, is where was our last analysis. So yeah, let's take a look at this. This is huge. So last time we spoke about this probably was around October time. Let me just check if there's any other Bitcoin analysis. I do believe this is going to be the one. Okay, so I'm actually going to get rid of all of this mess. Okay, so what I'm actually looking out for here is pretty much I'm actually quite bearish on this pair. Even though it's been massively rocketing towards the upside. We've got these divergences coming into play here, as you know, with our full market analysis. We've seen price continually step up higher and higher. I am personally looking at waiting for this absolutely drop into the market, and I'm going to be looking to target 4K. I actually believe that this is going to come within this region of the market here. Where is this? Around, I definitely think it will come into around the 10K mark. It has to come back here at some point, purely based on the fact that we've just been massively oversold and massively bullish. There's even a divergence here from all the way back in 2017, so we can clearly see that this is heavily overpumped. So what we could see price come into is around the 10K mark, but whether that price price isn't going to do this in a day. It's not even going to take months. It's going to take a very long time for price to come into this level, and you can expect price to do this in a matter of potential years or so, I want to say. So again, like we was discussing with Ripple, that my sentiment over for that one is long term towards the upside. But there is something that you can be aware of, mindful of. Now, this doesn't mean that if you have bought here early, you should definitely cash out because of my video. No, I know that what I've said kind of makes sense, but this is still continuing higher. I'm just purely preparing you for what is potentially to come from the market. And you can even see it here on the daily getting much more amplified, that there is more divergence coming into play here. But yeah, what we can see here is price pretty much stepping up higher and higher. So I do think price can still push higher, but it's just literally going to be a matter of a time ticking bomb. So we could possibly see 70,000 being a psychological level where price just taps in here and then absolutely melts. So it could do something like this and starts to drop off. And this is where I've got my critical lows. So I've got my critical low here, and this one will be formed if we break this high of the market. So right here, let me get rid of this because it's quite annoying. So if we get a break above here, we could do something like that. So if we get a break above here, this would be the next critical low to watch and be mindful of. And then this one is the next one that you can look out for as well. So what we could see happening is, to watch out for these levels. So basically at the 50,000 mark and the 42,000 to 40,000 mark as well, you could be mindful of. This is I believe it's a key level to anticipate and to watch for into the market. So for me, I think that price has the capability to push higher, because look at this, there's no sort of divergence coming into play just as yet. So I think we could get price to step into 70,000, and then we could see a potential sell-off. Whether it comes into 70,000 or not, or even if it continues to go to 80,000, let's just be mindful that this has to come down at some point. So I will talk about this next time once we do see a drop, and I'm not going to cover this every week or so. once we see, you know, some sort of push towards the upside and then some sort of drop to take out a critical level, lower high, I will then speak about that as well. And likewise with Ripple, if I see some sort of significance where we see price hit the $2 range, I will you know, talk about that and give you some sort of heads up with this with that pair. So yeah, that's pretty much all for this week. Again, if you made it all the way to the end, I do appreciate your time for watching. We do have a trading group that you can join. That link is in the description, of course. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, and I'm happy to help you guys out. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you all in our next video.